Yo, what's up, guys? This is going to be just a calm little, back testing session on the Chicasso model. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a strategy that I created, and obviously one that I use in live markets. So I just figured I'd showcase you guys just off a random month, just how exactly, I use the strategy. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that I live in San Diego, so I trade in the LA time. So that's like 3 hours behind New York time. So for me, market opens at 6:30. But yeah, also I'm not going to be taking my time with every trade here. Maybe a few here and there, but I have more in-depth details or just videos about how I use the strategy in my Discord, my free Discord. But let's just get straight into it. So before anything, I always like to check the higher time frame to see what's going on. And right now, all right, so not too convincing to be honest with you. So let's just play this out. All right, so these candles actually look very, very small. Like, oh my gosh, bro. All right, so typically when there's low volatile days like this, I kind of just skip because there is nothing to trade here. Yeah, so I'm gonna skip this day and just go to the next day. So, all right, so here we actually look a lot more bearish, which is pretty solid. So with that being said, I am going to be looking for shorts here. Um, so we kind of get a push up, as you guys can see. Okay, so our time frame once again, it's looking all right. It's not horrible. All right, so if I were to take a short here, actually, let me just make sure I'm fucking. All right, so if I take a short here, the reason why I probably would be hesitant is actually, why are we coming down? Hold on, because we were pushing higher. Okay, so the reason why we actually ended up rejecting was off of this 1 hour gap. Because I personally teach, off of higher time frame gaps, we typically get rejections, whether they're small or big, it doesn't matter. It's almost certain we'll get a pretty strong rejection. So as you guys can see, we got one right there. Um, so I could, stick to a shorter bias. But the reason why I wouldn't take this inverse right here is just the fact that we have this 5 minute gap here as well. So in taking something like this, while also following the chicasso model, because I don't just trade inverses, we would have a very small price target. So I just wait for these to get inversed. But yeah, so as you guys can see, we ended up tapping into the gap. And if you would have entered, you probably would have gone stopped out because we got an instant rejection off that gap. So okay, so pretty solid. You guys can see we actually do end up continuing with the short bias. Um, let's just see what we end up doing here. Okay, so that's not bad for a short. Fuck. Okay, so the reason why, bro. So we're inside this 30-minute gap, so I probably wouldn't even take this trade either. If I had to take a trade, it'd probably just be an inverse off this 5 minute gap, which is our last line of defense. So we actually do end up inversing this gap pretty cleanly. This could be our ticket for shorts. Okay, so following the chicasso model, we would have to inverse this 2 minute gap right here. And okay, so just a 2 minute gap then. So let's just see what we end up doing. Okay, and then the 5 second time frame following my chicasso model. I need to see an inverse. Bro, don't lag. Inverse. Okay, beautiful. So we got an inverse, a rebalance, and then a second rejection back down. So I would enter this trade right around here. In terms of a stop loss, I would honestly look to have it at. This is not, bro. This is fucking short though. Honestly, if you guys are beginning, I would recommend having a stop loss. Like beginning to learn the strategy. I would probably have a stop loss right here, which is honestly not bad. But if you are a bit more, in the mastery side of things, a stop loss like this wouldn't be too bad either. It's just a little risky, but fuck it. We're just gonna do that. And then in terms of a take profit, okay, so we have this 4 hour swing low, which happens to be a 1 hour swing low too. Okay, so this is actually a pretty strong target. I'm not gonna lie. I guess you can have something like this too. But yeah, this actually looks pretty solid, you guys can see. Also following our higher time frame bias of shorts or being bearish. But let's just play this out real quick, see what ends up happening. So I'm gonna just order fill this real quick. Basically just trading how I usually trade. So let's just get filled. All right. So you guys can see, beautiful. So we get a huge displacement lower. Just looking for that to get hit real quick. Okay, perfect. So that ends up getting hit. So fuck, bro. All right, let's just go to the 5 second. Because usually when I manage my trades, I typically just manage them through the 1 minute and 5 second time frame. So I'm obviously gonna trail my stop loss here. Probably towards this level right here, and then just honestly put this out. Bro, there's no way we get edged. I'm gonna put it right here just in case. Holy fucking. There's no way. Okay, so we actually ended up getting edged. That's crazy. We were like, what? 2 points away? Bro, that's absurd. There's no way we actually end up going higher too, right? Wow. Okay, I mean, we still took a dub, so I can't complain, but I mean, we were so close to our target right there, but it's fine. We'll just go to the next day real quick. Let's see. Higher time frame wise, let's see. Actually, don't hold up. I'm gonna play some tunes real quick. So you guys can see on the higher time frame, daily doesn't look too convincing. 4 hour, we do seem to be a bit bullish, but we are inside this 1 hour gap right here, so we could expect a rejection. And in the 1 hour time frame, we are also kind of inversing this gap right here. So let's just play these candles out, see what ends up happening. All right, so we kind of get an inverse here, but it's not bad. Well, actually, I can't even take it because it doesn't follow my model, but still. Okay, so let's just keep playing this out. Okay, this actually isn't too bad. 15-minute time frame. Okay, so we created a 15-minute gap right here. In terms of a bias on the higher time frame, all right, so we do seem to look a bit bullish, but we actually did end up just inversing this 4 hour gap. So we could expect a rejection, but I'm not too... Okay, fuck, bro. We also have this 1 hour gap right here that we ended up hitting the midpoint of. So, my bad. This would be kind of dicey for a long, because again, I told you guys, you know, off higher time frame gaps, we actually do end up rejecting. Whether it's aggressive or not, I mean, we do end up rejecting. So, for a short though, let's just play this out, see what ends up happening. All right, so you guys can see we do actually end up going a bit shorter, which is what I kind of predicted. Yeah, we can take a short here. The reason again is we are inside this 1 hour gap. We ended up rejecting off the gap, and we also ended up inversing this 4 hour gap right here. So again, off of these gaps, we typically just reject off them. Whether it's long term or short term doesn't matter. So let's just see if we end up seeing the chicasso model play out here. Let's see, before anything though. Okay, so we have this 1 minute gap we have to watch out for right here as well. But that's beautiful right there. All right, so as you guys can see, 1 minute ends up inversing the 15-minute gap, and then the next 1 minute candle ends up ends up rebalancing back up, and then you guys saw we got a second rejection back down. So that is certainly a trade I take. In terms of some price targets, we do have this, although I'm not going to wait for that to get hit. We do have a price target right here, which is probably okay, this is actually a lot more likely to get hit though. I do like this. It's not horrible, but it's not the best either. How much points is that actually? Like 40 points. It's not bad. In terms of a stop loss though, let's see. We could have this. We do have this 1 minute gap right here, but I doubt we go back up to tap into that gap. 5 seconds. Let's see. Fuck. Honestly, I'm gonna just keep it as this. I'm not too worried about us coming back up from here, so let's just enter this trade real quick. Okay, so you guys can see we actually end up going lower. Okay, so we tap into this 1 minute gap. Again, this is a little risky because off of these gaps, we could reject off of them, even though they're pretty small. At least, you know, time frame wise. But again, this is a point of interest where we could reject off of. So I'm gonna just be careful here. So you guys can see we actually do end up coming back higher. Okay, beautiful. So you guys can see we ended up rejecting off that gap, and then because of our higher time frame bias of it being bearish, we actually do end up getting a second rejection back down. So this is a much better confirmation on my bias and the trade overall. But we did end up tapping into this 1 minute gap here too. So fuck, I'm gonna just keep playing this out honestly. Okay, so beautiful. We actually do end up taking our our first price target right there. So in this case, I'm gonna just put my stop at break. Actually, you know what? I might just trail this a bit aggressively. We could end up coming back into this 1 minute gap right here, but honestly, I think if anything, if we don't go even lower, then I'm just not gonna risk it. So if I were to trail my stop loss, it would have to be, let's see. Okay, so that's actually pretty solid. Okay, so my stop loss is going to be right here, and then I'll just play this out. Again, a huge thing with my strategy is I really like to, you know, micromanage my position once I'm in the trade. Um, Fuck, but we got edged. All right, so we actually ended up just getting stopped out there, but that was fair. Okay, so that was honestly, I mean, we still took a dub, so I can't complain. The reason for that is we actually ended up tapping into this 5 minute gap, and yeah, so I mean, that's fair. Just go to the next day real quick. All right, so it's Thursday, 4 hour time frame. Again, I know this might be a bit repetitive, but this is just what I do, you know. So this is how I backtest and obviously live trade. In terms of the higher time frame, though, I mean, we do seem to be a bit bullish on the 4 hour. 1 hour doesn't seem to be, you know, too much convincing structure here. It just seems like a bunch of consolidation, at least in the past day. So I'm gonna just let this day play out, see what ends up happening. All right, so we have this very small 5 minute gap right here. Thing with the bearish bias though, it's like, let's see. Ah, man. So you guys get, fuck, bro. As you guys can see, we had this 1 hour gap right here that we ended up kind of rejecting off of, and we also have it on the 30-minute time frame and 15-minute time frame. So the reason for this rejection was obviously because we tapped into these gaps. Again, really taking a trade inside these gaps is a no-no for my strategy, so I kind of just had to stay away from this. We do end up inversing this gap, but honestly, just considering the fact that our higher time frame bias was bearish, I can't just change up my bias like that, so I'm gonna just let this play out. We do have this 5 minute gap right here, but it's pretty small, so yeah, I'm gonna just skip to the next day. No trades that day. So it's Friday. Honestly, with Fridays, I like to be a bit more cautious as well. Just considering, you know, typically on Fridays, I mean, sure, you can still find an A+ setup, and I do trade on Fridays, but the probabilities just more times than not are not on your side. So I like to be a bit cautious on these days, but we do seem to be very bullish today, so hopefully we can get a bullish trade. Let's see. Okay, so we do have this 5 minute right here. Wait, this actually looks really good. Hold on. Does it look good? Hold on, let me see this real quick. All right, so going back to the higher time frame, we do have pretty strong bullish structure, but I mean, I like to say bullish, but 1 hour time frame. Okay, so as you guys can see, I mean, this is not the strongest gap, but we did end up tapping into this, or sorry, filling this 1 hour gap. So that is the reason for this rejection. Would I enter this trade? I mean, it's not horrible, but yeah, I'm going to stay away. Again, this price action doesn't look the best. Okay, so we do actually end up getting some some displacement lower. Holy shit, hold on. Do we end up creating a gap on the 15-minute? Oh, I don't think we tapped into it. Fuck. That's not good. No, bro, it's unfortunate. Alright, so we were not able to catch any shorts here. At least it seems like so. It's already 8:05. It's not bad though, actually. Here's a second 5-minute gap. It's very small though, but I do believe we end up tapping into it, right? Do we tap into it or not, bro? We do, right? Okay, so we barely tap into this gap. You guys can see. So now it's really just if we would like to stay bearish here. Let's see. All right, so a 4 hour time frame, and you guys can, oh my gosh. So we end up inversing all these gaps, even this 4 hour right here. So, I mean, we did look pretty strong towards, at least structure wise, but I mean, we could expect a rejection now that we finally inverse the last fair value gap here on the higher time frame. 1 hour, 2 as well. I mean, this doesn't look bad, I mean, we do look pretty strong towards the downside, so I'm not going to rule out this trade yet, but this does seem to be a bit riskier. I mean, let's just see what we end up doing here. Okay. I'm going to take this trade. It doesn't look that bad, actually, just considering the fact that we were pretty aggressive towards the downside. And you guys can see we did end up getting a rejection, or sorry, a retracement after inversing this 4 hour gap. So you guys can see we end up inversing here off this candle and then coming back up and then a second rejection back down. So now in terms of a trade, we do have this 5-minute fair value gap for a continuation. Following the chicasso model, I'd like to see us, obviously we already did, past this point of interest on the 1-minute time frame. So I would take a trade after we follow the fake out model on the 5-second time frame, which would be a trade past this area right here. So if we do end up passing this area, a trade here wouldn't be too bad. In terms of a stop loss, let's see. Honestly, bro, we're gonna have a pretty big stop, but it's fine. Fuck. Okay, so we do have a 5-minute gap right here. Alright, let's just take this trade. I mean, again, it looks pretty solid in terms of how we're displacing. Actually, let me just, yeah, this looks solid. I'm not gonna lie, this looks solid. Let's just take this trade real quick. Let's see. That is, of course, if we end up going lower. What I mean by that is if it fills us right here, which it hasn't yet. Okay, actually, that is actually a good example of why I follow my strategy or my model, because if I were to just enter off any point before, where I would usually enter a trade following my model, then you guys would have seen we would have gotten caught in all this consolidation, and we probably would have gotten stopped out, right? I mean, having a 50-point stop loss is not common, so you probably would have gotten stopped out. Again, for my chicasso model, especially my continuations, I would like to see the last kind of like, point of liquidity or interest off of this fair value gap to get displaced, which we got on this candle, but I also look for a 5-second inverse, or not inverse, but just displacement past this point of interest or this level, followed with a rejection, or sorry, a rebalance back up into this level, and then once again, a rejection back down. So that rejection back down would have been towards this point right here, which we never did. So that saved us from a loss. So it's not bad. I'm not interested in longs either. So I'm gonna just honestly call it here. I'm gonna just call it here and just go to the next week. So we got saved there, which is pretty nice. Um, all right, so it's a next week, right? Yeah. All right, so let's just again higher time frame. Let's just rep these out real quick. Seemingly okay, so we are pretty bullish here. We are inversing this 4 hour gap, and probably okay. Fuck. So we are actually inside this 1 hour gap. So in terms of a trade, I probably wouldn't take anything until we actually end up inversing this gap, um, which is this level right here. So let's just see what we end up doing. We do end up passing it, but all right. All right, so we have this 15-minute gap right here. I actually would be interested in shorts. Now, I'll tell you guys why right now, but before anything, let me just double check. All right, so I know we have bullish structure, but I told you guys off of higher time frame gaps, after we either tap into it, hit the midpoint, or even fill it, we do tend to get some pretty strong rejections, and this is actually a pretty strong 1 hour gap right here, as you guys can see. I think this was a news gap too, no? Or something? I don't know. But yeah, not bad. 30-minute, let's see. Okay, so this actually does look pretty solid for a short if we do end up seeing a clean inverse or not. Okay, so we actually do end up pushing higher, which is not bad either. Like, I really don't care. Uh, would I take this or not? What is this? Bro, a 28-point gap? No. Alright, so we do end up just actually having no volatility and just end up consolidating, so no trade for me that day. Just skip to the next day. 4 hour time frame, we're looking pretty bullish. Daily time frame, we are looking pretty bullish, and then the 1 hour probably the same thing, right? Kind of. All right, so I'm gonna just hopefully look for a bullish or a long trade. We can get it, but we are kind of just consolidating and chopping today. We do end up getting displacement lower. Okay, so we actually even end up inversing this 5 minute too, which is, I mean, is there a reason for this or not? Let's see. Daily, okay, so we ended up taking out this day, not even, so 4 hour, let's see. Okay, do we tap into it or not? There's no way. Bro, we edged the 4 hour gap. What the? Okay, this is, I mean, if we actually ended up tapping into this 4 hour gap, I would like a long, but because we didn't, I can't take this long because there's no reason for us to, in my reasoning, to go higher here. So, fortunately, I cannot take a long here because there's no reason, but let's just see what we end up doing. Okay, so I actually would even still like to be bearish here. So, an inverse off this 5 minute gap would be pretty solid. Um, okay, I actually do like this a lot. Let me just double check. Okay, so you guys can see the 1 minute ends up inversing the 5 minute gap, followed with a rebalance back higher. So a trade past this would be ideal if it once again fits our higher time frame bias. So before I commit to this trade, I do want to make sure we are looking pretty bearish, which, I mean, I do like the idea of this, you know, well, I do like the idea of price coming into this 4 hour gap. So yeah, I'm going to take this trade if we do end up seeing, you know, price go to our level or our entry. So let's just see what the 1 minute ends up doing. Alright, so we do end up consolidating a lot here. So at this point, I'm not taking anything, although we still might end up hitting our level or entry level. I don't like how we end up consolidating here, and the 5 minute probably looks pretty ugly, and yes, it does. So I'm gonna stay away from here. And yeah, okay, so yeah, this is fucking horrible, bro. I'm not trading anything along this range, and it's already 9 o'clock too. So let's go to the next day. It's Wednesday. Let's see, bro. Come on. Hopefully the markets bless us today. Looking pretty bullish, so let's just, let's just play this out actually, because we were looking bullish, but we did end up having that, this 5 minute gap right here. So let's see. Holy fuck, bro. This looks horrible. I'm not gonna, this is, I mean, if there's a reason for this, obviously we're inside this 5 minute gap. More times than not, off of imbalances, we don't get the cleanest structure, which you guys can see, this is not clean at all. Yeah, bro, this is horrible. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so we do end up having this 5 minute gap right here, but it's 33 points. It's not a strong fair value gap. I'm gonna just skip this day too. Okay. Fuck, bro. September was not good. I don't remember me trading September, but I swear I don't remember being this bad. It's fine though. I mean, how much? I'm only taking 2 trades. Fuck. Yeah, bro. Honestly, this month hasn't been the best, but it's fine. Again, this is just me displaying patience in the markets. Obviously, I told you, or I haven't. If you don't follow me, then you probably don't know. But if you do, you know that there are times where I won't trade even like once in a week, and there's times where I'll trade every day of the week. So this is just one of those months where it's probably going to be a bit abnormal in my frequency of trading. So that's fine. It's Thursday. I don't know why the 4 hour is just kind of lagging out. So I'm going to just wait for this to load. It finally loaded. So let's just get back into it. 4 hour time frame. Again, looking pretty bullish. 1 hour also looking pretty bullish as well. So let's just play this out. All right, so we end up getting a fat inverse off of this gap right here. It also does follow our model, but is there a reason for this? Let's see. This is not strong enough if it's just that level. Yeah. Okay, so I can't take this inverse because there's no higher time frame reason for it to happen. We do end up coming back into this gap right here though. So let's just double check okay. So I'm still gonna remain bullish here. So that being said, we could end up taking an inverse off this gap if we displace nicely, which we do. Okay, so as you guys can see, we have this 1 minute fair value gap here too. So we gotta wait for this to get inverse, and also, oh shit, my bad. We also get our chicasso model to play out here. So I would take a trade past this level right here. And then in terms of targets, I had that level and this level right here. In terms of stop loss though, we do have, let's see. 5 second, I mean, shit. We have this is not bad, but this could also be a second line of defense. I'm gonna just have my stop loss right here. Honestly, I'm pretty confident in this trade. I don't think we're gonna get edged, so I'm gonna have my 3 price targets right there. So let's just end up playing this out. Pretty confident in it, so see what ends up happening. Don't edge me, bro, I swear. Okay. Let me just double check what's going on here. Nothing really crazy. Thing is, if I want to move my stop loss down here, I could. Again, I told you guys there is a reason for this stop loss. Just this looks like a much more stronger, point than this right here. But let's just leave it here for now. Or actually, let's just see what's happening. Okay, so we actually didn't even need to move our stop loss, but again, I can fidget from here to here. Obviously, you can hold. You guys are probably trading like the size I am, but this would be a more safer stop loss. This would be a more ideal stop loss. So it really doesn't matter. But just want to let you guys know there. We do end up taking TP1, as you guys can see. I wasn't very convinced with how we ended up doing it though, so I might just put my stop loss to break even here. And then just see what we end up doing on the 5 second time frame. So fuck, please just go higher. Don't be weird. Okay, so we're kind of just consolidating. Okay, fuck. So now we are faced with the question if we want to hold the trade right, to this level, you know, thinking that this could be our only line of defense, and that's a 1 minute fair value gap, which I really hope we don't end up going to, but we might just do that. Fuck. Okay, so we do end up doing that. Uh, Again, I didn't really want to take profits here. It just wasn't good enough in my opinion, and I did like how we were displacing higher, so unfortunately we do end up coming back down into this 1 minute gap. So that being said, I would actually just take my profits if we end up passing this level right here. And we end up just getting break even. So, I mean, we didn't get stopped out, but honestly, I didn't like how we even entered this trade. Like, this consolidation wasn't the best. And then we did end up taking TP1. We could have taken profits, which it would have been like, what, 25 points. So it's not horrible, but again, I did like the idea of us even taking this. So that's why I held the trade, but it happens. Honestly, I'll just take the break even and call it a day. We'll go to the next day real quick. Alright, so it's Friday. Still looking pretty bullish, so let's see what we end up doing here. We have this 5 minute gap, but I don't really like it though, because it's kind of just a lot of wick, not a lot of body, and it's only 38 points, so I can't even take it. Let's see, so we do end up displacing a bit higher, which is pretty solid. Holy, hold on. Please tell me this gap's strong enough, bro. Please. Holy, bro. 23-point gap. That's... Can't take the trade. Fuck. And we ended up going a lot higher, too. It's fine. So for me, I mean... what I consider a strong fair value gap on the 5 and 15 minute time frame is ideally something past 40 points. Obviously, this isn't the, you know, exact pinpoint, like set, you know, like point reference for a strong fair value gap, just, you know, how I see it. Everyone has different, you know, ideas of, you know, what is considered a strong fair value gap, because obviously even this is considered a fair value gap. Nonetheless, it is pretty small, but again, if I had to follow my strategy, the chicasso model, I wouldn't trade anything past 40 points in a fair value gap. So I couldn't take this trade, but it's fine. Let's see what we end up having here. Not a whole lot. Yeah, I'm gonna just go to the next day too. Alright, so honestly, bro, this has been a pretty shit month. But we can't control that. You just gotta go with the market gives you, obviously. Still looking pretty bullish. So let's just see what we end up doing here. Hopefully we can catch some better trades this week. 15-minute time frame. Bro, come on. Okay, so we actually do end up tapping into this 5 minute right here. Fuck, bro. Okay, so now it turned into a 15-minute, probably a 30-minute too, right? Not yet. Okay, so is there a reason for this rejection? Let's see. Higher time frame. Okay, I think we're actually at all-time highs. So in that case, I probably would just stick to longs until we get some. Yeah, I have to stick to longs. Alright, so I'm going to stick to longs here, which we do actually end up getting a solid, you guys can see, rejection off the gap. Okay, so not the best price action, but I do like the idea for longs here, so we'll take the trade. Why not? So you guys can see, we do end up passing this point of interest on 1 minute. So a trade in the 5-second would have to be something that follows our obviously chicasso model, which would be something like an inverse, which we get actually in this candle, not these, because these are just wicks. And then we come up and then come back down to rebalance back into this point. So a trade would be, again, a second rejection off this point and then back up. The only problem is I don't know if we'll get it, which we don't. So kind of got saved there. Yeah, so we got saved, you guys can see. So, I mean, I can't complain. I can't take shorts either, so I'm just gonna let this play out. Okay, so we do actually end up creating another 5-minute gap right here, but it's 16 points, so I can't take it. Holy fuck, bro! This month has been horrible. Hmm. I think this is just a lesson of, how to be patient in markets because, bro, I haven't traded at all this entire month. So, pretty unfortunate, but again, we are still, uh, I mean, we've only taken dubs, so I really can't complain again, but it's just not the best price action to trade. Let's see. Yeah, bro, this is horrible. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, nothing here just stands out as appealing. We do have this 5 minute gap right here. It's 28 points. Holy fuck. All right, bro. Let's just get to the next day. I know this is getting a little boring, but what can I do? Okay, so we actually ended up tapping into this daily gap. Hopefully we can reject off of it and then shoot for higher. But honestly, the 4 hour looks pretty bearish. So does the 1 hour. So let's just play this out, see what we end up doing. Yeah. Okay. We do have this 5 minute, 35 fucking points, bro. I'm about to get a little. Okay, hold on. How big is this gap? This is horrible. This is like I have no words. I actually have no words. 32 points, dude. The fuck. Oh my gosh. I mean, again, like, what can I do, bro? This is just shit price action. Next day, let's see. Okay, holy fuck. We end up getting a huge pop higher. Please, bro, bless us with the trade. That's all I asked for. That's all I asked for, please. Okay, so we have this 5 minute gap right here. Um, but do we look bullish still? I don't even know. 4 hour time frame, I mean, it's all right. 1 hour, we're kind of coming off of these gaps. 30 minute though, we are looking bearish, which is pretty unfortunate. 15 minute, let's just see the 1 minute. Okay, so, okay, I mean, at this point of time, let's double check. So, 4 hour time frame. All right, this does look bullish, right? 4 hour time frame looks bullish. As you guys can see, we ended up just tapping into this 4 hour gap, and we ended up getting a solid displacement higher. The 1 hour time frame, you guys can see. Okay, so this does look pretty bullish. We ended up trying to inverse these gaps, but obviously, I told you guys off these higher time frame gaps, we could get some rejections, or usually we'll get rejections. The only problem with this right here is we are currently inside this 30 minute gap. So, hold on. Okay, so actually, we already ended up rejecting off this gap. You guys can see that initial rejection was off of this candle right here. So we could still take this trade. It's just going to be very small price targets, which is again this 5 minute gap and the fill of the 30 minute gap. I wouldn't take this trade inside this gap unless we haven't already rejected off of it. But as you guys can see, this candle already did. So us coming back higher might just mean again a push higher. So I'll take this trade, but it's just going to be very boring too because there really isn't any price targets. Or I mean there is, but there isn't any really like strong price targets towards the upside. And the ones we have are just pretty shorts, but it's fine. Again, another thing that I do too is I definitely prioritize probabilities over RRs. So I really don't care about, the trade being a certain RR. I mean, sure, I mean, I know a lot of people do, preach that, but at the end of the day, I feel like probabilities are just always going to be superior in the terms, okay, we don't know what the market's going to do. You might as well just, enter and exit trades where it's most likely where, price will either reject off of or just, displace off of. But yeah, in terms of a stop loss, holy gap. In terms of a stop loss, there isn't really anything Let's see. I mean, maybe something here would be a stop loss. Yeah, it's not bad. So this would be our stop loss. This trade doesn't look actually, it doesn't look good either, but fuck it, we're just gonna take it. It doesn't look bad, is what I'm trying to say. The reason why I'm taking this is because it does align with our higher time frame bias. And again, we are coming off some pretty strong gaps. So there is reasoning here. It's just not the, I mean, it's not ugly either. It actually looks pretty solid now that I see it. But yeah, let's just enter this trade. See what we end up doing. So you guys can see we get tagged in the trade, and are we going to hit our target or not? We are. Okay, so we hit our first target, which is again the fill, or not the fill, but the entry of this 5 minute gap. So at this point, I'm going to just trail my stop loss pretty aggressively. Hopefully we can tap this 30 minute gap here too, though. There we go. So we end up tapping the 30 minute gap. At this point, bro, okay, I'm just gonna fucking take profits because this doesn't look too convincing. So maybe right here. Let's see, look 1 second real quick. Alright, take profits like right here. Okay, that's not bad. I mean, finally took a trade, so I really can't complain, but damn. Let's see if we actually end up going higher, and we do. Fuck, it's fine, honestly. Like, I just took safe profits because we were inside this 5 minute gap, so there could have been a reason for a rejection, but you guys can see we actually do end up going a lot higher, so at least we were right, you know, that's all that matters. It's going, so Friday, right? Yeah, Friday. Okay, so next day, um, still looking pretty bullish, so let's just play these candles out real quick. Okay, that actually looks pretty solid. We do have this 5 minute gap right here. Okay, so it's 39.5. Honestly, it's strong enough. 39.5, basically 40 points. Bro, don't tell me it's gonna lag now. Why does a 1 minute do that? Fuck. Alright, just give me a quick second. I'm gonna fix this real quick. Our boys are loaded, so we're back into it. And I had to switch the AirPod to the left ear because my other one died. I gotta keep the house music on, bro, because if I can't backtest without music, I wouldn't say it's painful, but it's pretty close to it. Especially when you're trading this month, so, um, again, you guys can see we're looking pretty bullish. So I would like to take this inverse. In terms of price targets, we do have these two levels right here. But I didn't even see this. It's fine. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. So you guys can see we end up getting that 1 minute. 1 minute. What do you call it, bro? Just had a brain fart. Inverse. Inverse off the 5 minute gap, and then we got a rejection back down. So hopefully we can get, you know, price to come after, I mean, this level right here, and then look to target. Damn, these are some small levels, so hold up. Okay, well, after this, I believe it's just all-time highs, right? Yeah, so, I mean, I guess we'll target higher just depending on what ends up happening here, but for now, let's just see what we end up doing. Okay, whoops. Let's enter this trade. Oh. So let's enter this trade real quick. My stop loss is not set yet. Don't worry about that. I just want to enter the trade first. Holy fuck. All right, so we actually ended up hitting our take profit as soon as like we enter the trade. So I would have had my stop loss maybe around this area right here. It's not bad. So this would have been my stop loss. Would be kind of already hit TP1. Am I really looking for us to go higher here though? Fuck, I don't know, bro. I mean, this does look pretty solid for higher, so I actually might just end up holding this trade. But we did end up hitting TP pretty quickly, so I don't know. Okay, beautiful. So we do end up pushing a lot higher. So you guys can see, did we tap this 1 minute? Not yet, but still, not bad. Uh, okay, so we do end up going a bit higher, bro. I don't want us to go into this 1 minute gap. Hopefully we don't. Please, bro. Alright, so we end up hitting TP right there. I'm going to have my stop loss right here. It's not bad. Hopefully we don't hit. Fuck, it's fine. What I was kind of hoping for here is because, again, past this level would have been all-time highs, so I was looking for us to kind of come higher after hitting it to create more all-time highs, which we actually just don't end up doing. It's fine. We probably do later, but we still took a dub there, so it's pretty solid. So let's go to the next week real quick. Alright, so it's going to be Monday again. Let's see. Looking pretty bullish, kind of bullish. I mean, not the strongest, but beautiful. So we do end up having a 5 minute gap right here. 42 points as well. Actually, hold up. Let me see something real quick. Alright, I had to make sure that the previous clip got recorded. So we're back. Anyways, what was I gonna do? Oh yeah. Well, does this look actually bullish or not? Let's see. Yeah, so this just looks still pretty bullish. You guys can see the 1 hour time frame. Fuck. Okay, so we do have this 1 hour gap right here, but we kind of already did reject off of this gap from this candle right here. So if we come back higher, it doesn't really matter. In terms of targets though, I mean, we do have these levels right here as well. Let's just take this trade because I do still like it a lot. Alright, so the trade, oops, I would have taken this trade after, you guys can see this 5 second ends up displacing past this level. We get a rebalance back into this level, and then I would have taken a trade again right around this candle. So we'll enter this trade. We'll have our stop loss at about, we do have this open 1 minute gap, so we could use that as a level of defense. So let's just have our stop loss there. And then again, price targets. I think past this, we will be back at all-time highs again. So I'm going to hope that this time, after we hit this, if we do, that we end up going higher. So I have my stop loss a bit higher. Or sorry, my take profit, my bad. Yeah, let's just enter this trade real quick. We do have a pretty close take profit, which we do end up hitting, but I don't think it's that strong, right? What did I mark out here? Fuck. I mean, I don't know, bro. I mean, I do like higher. I'm not gonna lie, so I'm gonna just keep this. Bro, if I get cooked here, I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay, beautiful. We end up hitting TP2. So that's not bad. Let's see. What do we end up doing from here, though? Please go higher. Oh my fucking gosh, bro, I swear. Okay. Do I see us really going higher here? I do. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this doesn't look like a strong target either, right? I mean, it's kind of strong, but because we also did take out these levels. But I don't know. I'm still pretty. Oh my gosh, bro, if I get cooked here, I'm gonna lose my mind. Oh my, we got edged. What the fuck? Bro, we deadass got edged. Okay. At this point, I might as well just hold the trade. And we end up getting break evens. Oh my gosh, bro. Okay, so again, we did end up hitting TP2. It wasn't even for that much, but we still ended up hitting our take profit. The reason why I didn't take profits was because I really liked how we displaced higher. I thought we were at least going to see this, if not, create more all-time highs, but we didn't, unfortunately. But if we play this out, I mean, you guys can see, I mean, our trade would have still hit. I just got stopped out before, so it's fine, At least we had the right draw. Let's just go to the next day real quick. please, hopefully the 4 hour loads. I swear, it's like every time I get like mid-session to a backtesting video or just, personal session myself, like the 4 hour just always tends to lag. I don't know why. Alright, just give me a second, boys. I'm gonna try to fix this real quick. Alright, we're back. Hopefully we fixed it. I think we did, right? Yeah, we did. Okay, so, alright, so it's Tuesday. Let's just play this out. Daily looks pretty bullish. 4 hour looks kind of shit, and then the 1 hour looks, oh my gosh. Alright, let's just play this out. See what we end up doing. Alright, so we end up, as you guys can see, displacing lower, so it's fine. We do end up having a 15-minute gap right here. Let's see what we end up doing off this gap. Alright, so we tapped the gap, but I don't like how we're kind of, how price is looking. Plus, we are literally inside the midpoint of this 4 hour gap. So if you guys took this trade, I'm not going to. I'm going to show you why you don't, though. That's why. I mean, we do actually end up even going lower, so it's fine. But if you take something, within the range, 40-point stop loss, I don't know if people are happy. I mean, it's kind of what I have, but I know some people have smaller stop losses. This is just not good. Like, if you're in this, bro, it's just, holy cortisol spike if you're in this shit, bro. It's not good. So, honestly, and plus, it's already, like, past 9, right? Yeah, okay. So, I would have just avoided this as a whole. Let's just go to the next day. Alright, so we're inside that 4 hour gap, which I'm not a fan of, and this 1 hour gap. Daily time frame. Let's just play this out. I hate when this shit happens, bro. Alright, let me just, like, what the fuck is that? Alright, so honestly, I think what I have to do is just replay this real quick. Just give me a second. Alright, we fixed it. Let's just, alright, so, let's just recheck the higher time frame. I mean, honestly, looking pretty bearish. This price action's kind of buns. I'm not really fucking with it. Oh my gosh, hold on. Alright, so we have this, bro. Is it really 30 points? Oh, never mind. Alright, it's fine, it's fine. We do actually end up even going lower too. We just couldn't catch a trade for lower, so it's fine. Next day, let's see. Bro, like, how many times am I gonna say how fucking shit this month was, bro? This is horrible. Like, actually, this is not good, like, at all. I usually take, like, maybe 10 to 15 trades at max on a month. The fact that I'm only at 6 is kind of disappointing. But it's not my fault. It's the market just not being good this month, so that's fine. We do have this 52-point gap right there, which we do actually end up coming down from. So could we go lower? We are inside this fat daily gap, but you guys can see we actually already ended up dealing with the midpoint, right? Hopefully. Yeah, we did. Okay. But honestly, there's probably like, yeah, bro. Can't take this trade because we were inside a lot of higher time frame fair value gap, so we could honestly just reject that any moment. So you guys can see it right there. So that's why we didn't take that trade. However, because we were inside those gaps, we did end up rejecting. I do like an idea for longs. It's not bad at all, but let's just see what we're doing here. Okay, this is actually looking pretty solid. I like this. Alright, so again, the reason for a long is we did end up rejecting off of a lot of higher time frame gaps. Only problem is, okay, we can target this and this 5-minute gap. And if we're feeling a little risky, we can take that out too. We are inside this 15-minute gap, bro. Alright, so I'm gonna just mark that out too, just in case. And this is but bro, this is a 30-minute gap. Okay, so I mean, honestly, this does look pretty certain that we'll at least tap into this though. So only problem is we have to wait for this 1 minute to get inversed as well. So let's just wait for that to happen. So you guys, oh my gosh, that was way too quick. So let's just go to the 5 second real quick and then just play these candles out real quick. All right. Oh my gosh, we don't even get our entry model taken in. All right, so you guys can see the 1 minute ends up, following our chicasso model, but I needed the 5 second to also follow our chicasso model off of this 1 minute inverse, which we kind of displays a bit higher already. We do come back down, but at this point, because we're so close to fucking TP, I mean, I could take this, but this might just be a quick break even, honestly, so it's fine. It's worth the shot, so I'm just gonna try it out. Holy fuck. Okay, so yeah, I mean, again, we do look pretty bullish here, so it definitely is worth the shot, but coming into this gap, you're coming into it. Coming into this level is a 30-minute gap, so that is pretty risky. Fuck it though, I do like this trade. I'm gonna just, like, we're probably just gonna get instantly stopped out at break even, but it's fine. I'm gonna just take my chances here. Who knows? We might just end up going higher, a lot higher, after inversing the gap. Once we get filled in, we haven't gotten filled in yet. Are we gonna get filled in or not? Okay, so we end up getting filled in, but I'm actually gonna have my stop loss like right here now because we did end up doing all this. Uh, yeah. All right, so not bad. Again, I genuinely just think we're gonna tap into this gap and then come back down. So at this point, I literally have to go instant break even, which is unfortunate, but oh my gosh, let's go. That's why you actually still enter trades. So as you guys can see, I was kind of hesitant because usually off these gaps we do reject. We got a small rejection, but not, or sorry, we did get a rejection, but not big enough to hit our stop loss. So that is solid. But one thing with this is this 5 second candle was very, very aggressive right here. A 10-point 5 second candle. So typically off of these aggressive 5 second candles, we do get instant rejections. So I'm going to take profits pretty soon from here. Okay, that's actually beautiful. I love that. So you guys can see 5 second, we end up tapping into this gap and coming back a lot higher. So literally can't complain, bro. That was beautiful. And we end up hitting our second price target right there. So at that point, I'm actually just going to trail my stop loss pretty aggressively because there you go. We actually did end up taking out a 30-minute gap and then we're literally filling this 5-minute gap. So a rejection here is very, very probable. And if we still continue to play this out, you guys can see after this loads up, let's see. Bro, please don't lag on me, bro. Come on. My gosh, bro. Alright, just give me a quick second, guys. I'm gonna see if this fixes real quick. Finally loaded. I just wanted to show you guys that literally after tapping that 5-minute gap, you guys can see we end up rejecting. So that's why we took profits there. Obviously, we do actually end up going back higher, which is beautiful, but we would have ended up hitting our break even first. So that's why I took profits there. If I wanted to hold it, I could have. Again, all that matters here is that we were right on the higher time frame bias, and we still got rewarded regardless. So solid trade. Let's just get into the next day. It's Friday, so let's just see what we end up doing here. All right, so one daily time frame, 4 hour, 1 hour. All looks not. I mean, what does this look like? I mean, there's not really a strong bias here, so let's just play these candles out. Okay, so we end up actually inversing this 5-minute gap, but after this bearish structure, I wouldn't take a long unless there's a real good reason to do so. And if we check, there really isn't a real good reason to reject from here. I mean, we did take out these levels, but for me, it's not enough to reverse my bias. We will tap into this 15-minute gap though, so let's see what we end up doing off this gap. Fuck, bro. I mean, kind of just pinballing from longs to shorts, or from bullish to bearish. Again, at this point in time, my higher time frame bias would still be bearish, but it's just not the most convincing, you know? I don't know if I'm willing to risk trade here. I mean, again, we do look pretty bearish, so it's not bad. Actually, we do look pretty, yeah, we look pretty bearish. Okay, so this actually doesn't look that bad. Okay. Again, this does look very good for shorts. We do actually look pretty solidly bearish now, so I would actually be pretty confident in taking this trade. Yeah, let's just take this trade. Again, I'm just not the most confident, or I am confident, I'm just not like, this is not like an A++ trade, you know? Maybe an A. So I probably would just end up trailing my stop loss pretty aggressively here. Alright, so as you guys can see, 1 minute ends up taking out the level of interest. 5 second, we end up getting the inverse and the rebalance back higher. So if price were to come back down here, we can take this trade. In terms of a stop loss, okay, well, we actually didn't enter the trade yet. Okay, so luckily, guys, we didn't enter the trade. And this is actually a pretty good example of what my model will save us from. Again, if we would have just taken this, you know, at any point here, below or behind the point of interest or point this level right here, we would have gone stopped out. Even if you did take it past this level, you still would have gone stopped out. You would have gone faked out here. Because of my chicasso model and my continuations, specifically on the 5 second time frame, 5 second time frame. Fuck, that sounded kind of weird. You guys can see ideally a 5 second inverse pass or 5 second displacement past this point of interest, and then a rebalance, and then again I would have entered a trade past here. Because we didn't tap it, we got saved from a loss, so it's pretty good. We end up going, alright, so I would have just not taken a trade this day, which is fine. Saved ourselves from a loss, so I think this is going to be our last week, right? Or like our last days right here, so hopefully we can catch one last trade. Let's see, it's Monday. We do look pretty, you look like we're starting some bearish structure here, so let's see what we end up doing. Or not. We actually end up going higher. Holy, okay, hold on. This might be solid, hold on. Oh my gosh, bro, 34 point fucking gap, are you kidding me? Alright, hold on. So you guys can see, we actually do end up going higher from this gap, but again, because it's 34 points, it's just not the strongest. I can't take it because it doesn't follow my model criterias. But regardless, I mean, higher time frame wise, okay, well, we could have actually ended up taking a long because, well, actually, we just tapped into this 4 hour gap, but still, it's fine. We could have took the trade regardless, it's fine. I do expect a rejection just like so. So you guys can see we just tapped into this 4 hour gap and we got an instant rejection off of it. So we end up consolidating a bit. We do have this 5 minute gap right here. Hold on. I do like this a lot. This 5 minute gap right here is only 30 points though, so I honestly couldn't take that trade. I could still use this 5 minute gap for an inverse though, but at this point, I mean, let's see. Higher time frame again. So you guys can see we tapped into this gap. We could look to target this gap right here on the 4 hour, which actually doesn't seem too bad now that I see it happen. So we could still take this trade, honestly. Again, not off this 5 minute continuation, but off this 5 minute inverse. You do have that 1 minute to inverse, and then the next series of candles come back up, tap into the gap, and then a second rejection back down. So the trade along this area wouldn't be too bad. Let me just double check if we have any other gaps here, which we don't. Alright, this is going to be a bit more riskier, but it's not risky, it's just, you know, because this gap's still very valid. It's just, you know, we had this, but still. We are following the higher time frame bias, or at least we have reasoning to go shorts off of this projection, and The only problem here is we do have a very small stop or take profit with these 4-hour gaps. But again, like with a month like this, bro, just being so shit, it's just like, well, you have to see us. Okay, so you guys can see we do actually end up coming down here. So I'm going to take this trade. In terms of a stop loss, though, I'm just gonna have it here. And then we're gonna enter this trade real quick. Alright, so we're in. Let me just double check my stop loss though, because I mean it's not bad. Let's put it right here. It's not, so I'm gonna just have my stop loss right there. And then just send this shit, please. Bang. Alright, so we end up hitting TP1. Again, I actually might just trail this aggressively as well because this is a higher time frame gap. And we ended up hitting the midpoint and the beginning of it, so we could expect a pretty aggressive rejection. So I just want to be safe with what's going on here. Yeah, I'm gonna just take profits here, guys. That's why. So pretty good decision on my part. Obviously we barely took anything, but I wasn't expecting a whole lot off of that trade. So I mean, still right, but I just wanted to play it safe there. Just go to the next day real quick. This might be the last day, or maybe tomorrow is, but 4-hour time frame. Somewhat of a bearish structure here, but we do have that last candle being bullish. We do end up coming into this 5-minute gap and seeing right here. Okay, so higher time frame wise, but we are okay. Actually, we ended up already inversing this 4-hour gap. So we come back down lower. This could be a pretty solid trade. Okay, so I do like this actually a lot. Fuck, what is this shit? It doesn't matter. 4-hour time frame once again. Looking pretty bearish. We did end up rejecting off this 4-hour gap, but we already kind of rejected, so we can get a second, displacement down lower. That could confirm us, obviously just pushing a lot lower here. 1 hour, I mean, it looks solid. Can have a take profit right there too. 30-minute time frame real quick. Okay, it's not bad. So you guys can see we do even end up, whoops, 1-minute time frame, past the point of interest right there. So that's pretty beautiful. But 5-second time frames where we really enter the trade. Oh shit. Okay, beautiful actually. This is perfect. So we end up getting a displacement past the point of interest. We end up coming back up into the point of interest or level, and then we would look for a trade past this right here. Stop loss, low-key fat as fuck, but you gotta do what you gotta do, so it's fine. Fuck, bro. This thing's making me have to lock in. Alright. Yeah, let's just enter this trade. This actually looks pretty solid. Order fill this bit real quick, 40. So we're in. Holy fuck, bro. If I get stopped out, I'm gonna lose my mind, actually. I'm gonna lose my mind, bro. Oh my gosh. Why do I feel like we actually might get stopped out on our last trade, bro? Okay, let's just reanalyze this real quick. I mean, we are looking bearish, so I really can't complain. Only problem is these fair value gaps that we just inversed, but I don't think it's good enough. Like, I genuinely think we're gonna go lower. Damn, bro. That's so unfortunate, because we actually might get stopped out here. I don't know. Can we clutch up? Hopefully. Clutch up, clutch up, clutch up, clutch up, clutch up, clutch up. We're not gonna clutch up. Fuck. I'll just have it here. Past these levels. Just a more precise stop loss. But we get stopped out. Fuck, bro. Literally the last trade of the fucking month, too. Wow. Okay. It's fine. It's fine, bro. Loki, it's fine. It's fine. Fuck, bro. That was the last trade of the session, bro. And we ended up getting stopped out. That's so unfortunate. Well, this month was, I mean, we played it well. That trade wasn't the best. Um, I'll talk to you guys about it once we see the actual stats. So I'm low-key disappointed in myself for taking that final L. Um, again, I mean, I guess I was kind of just too tied into the whole thing. Like, it was all right. Like, it wasn't a horrible trade, but again, the reason for that loss was more so just the fact that we were still pretty early in inversing those past higher time frame gaps. The one I mentioned to you guys, the 4 and 1 hour. I know I told you guys we did already inverse them and come back up, but it was still kind of early in that, in the way we did it. So we did end up taking an L there, which is very unfortunate. But it happens. Uh, yeah, I mean, still, I mean, I really can't complain. This month was pretty horrible. It was just that last trade, that kind of fucked us over. But again, like that's just how trading is, especially with a month like this. I mean, again, in my opinion, I don't think it was too good. And again, it kind of fucked up with that last L. But if you put it into perspective, I mean, we still took 8 dubs and 1 L. I do understand that like two of those were break evens. But regardless, it doesn't really matter. It's just a bummer that we took that final L. But yeah, we were, a trade away from hitting 100% on the month. We did take an L, so it's an 89% win rate for this month, which is not horrible. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if back test in a year, this is really nothing. And again, this is going to be, if not one of the worst months, probably the worst month of the year. So that's kind of how the model performed against that. But again, I mean, it happens. I can't really complain too much. We still did pretty good analytics wise, considering the fact that we were 8 for 9. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Also, my Discord, I have more in-depth videos on how exactly I trade this model. So with that being said, that will be the end of the first back testing sesh with the chicasso model.